The Anker PowerCore 13,400 and 20,100. The only portable battery power banks that are certified to work with the Nintendo Switch. This is important because while the Switch does use a generic USB Type-C port, it does not comply with USB power delivery standards. So pretty much anything that isn't certified by Nintendo could potentially brick your Switch. Why does it have to be this way? And does it justify shelling out the extra money for this regular old power bank that just has a Nintendo logo slapped on it? I highly recommend that you go back and watch my video on the problem with every single aftermarket Nintendo Switch dock. There I go more in depth into the power consumption methods of the Switch and why it's not safe to use anything that's not certified by Nintendo. The TLDR is that the Switch uses some weird bastardization of the PD protocol, and only Nintendo knows how to handle the laundry list of errors that the Switch puts out. But for now, we're gonna focus on power banks, specifically these Anker ones. These came out a while ago, and every time I went to go look on Amazon, they were out of stock, and I never found them in stores. In fact, they're still not on Amazon. You have to get them through third-party sellers. I just so happened to find them sitting on the shelves at Target and Best Buy when I walked in there to find some GameCube controllers. There's a 13,400 milliamp hour version and a beefy 20,100 milliamp hour version. That's the amount of power that can be stored in the device, so that's how long your Switch can be charged for, or how many times it could be charged. I would have loved for the 20,100 milliamp hour version to have more ports. With that much power, you could be the real lifesaver of a group, charging multiple people's devices. I have big RAV power and even Anker power banks that have multiple ports, and that's exactly why I keep one in my bag. So I don't get why they couldn't just slap another port onto this one. Maybe they were trying to keep the costs down because the Nintendo license was a lot of money? By the way, these are not cheap. The smaller one is $69.99 and the bigger one is $89.99. So you're definitely paying an extra price just for that Nintendo logo. I think it's very rare for you to need anything over 13,400 milliamp hours, especially with only one USB Type-A port and one USB Type-C port. Maybe if you plan on charging your laptop for an extended period of time, but you can still charge your USB-C laptop with the smaller one, just not for as long. The smaller one touts 10 hours of playtime and the bigger one touts 15 hours of playtime. I charge my Anker PowerCore fully with the Nintendo Switch charger, then use the PowerCore to charge my completely dead Switch. It took about 3 hours for a full charge and used up a little over half of the PowerCore's battery life. And I wasn't even playing it while it charged, so I'd say that 10-hour rating is definitely including the 3 hours you get initially from the Switch's battery itself, and it's under very optimal conditions. Maybe playing NES games or something. It actually says right here, get up to 10 additional hours of playtime, so that's under really optimal conditions. But it also says fully charged Nintendo Switch in just 3.5 hours. I charged it in 3, so that's better than it was rated. This is also the only portable battery I know of, certainly the only one that I have, that lets you charge your device while you're playing it. The ones I've used in the past aren't powerful enough to keep up. They just prolong the death of the battery. I was also shocked to learn that this thing could charge my laptop while I'm using the laptop. It just doesn't charge my laptop while I'm editing with my laptop because that is very power intensive. It would still prolong the death of my laptop though, which is nice. I also got myself the adjustable charge stand for 20 bucks. That way you can charge your Switch and play it in tabletop mode at the same time. It's got this rubber on its feet that's very hard to move. This is something that I'm probably never gonna do, but it certainly looks good on camera, doesn't it? And it certainly fixes my terrible kickstand problem. Now, I'm sure that you've already asked yourself, why can't I just use the power bank that I already have? You absolutely could. And you might be safe. Is that something that you really want to risk $300 and all of your save files on? The problem is that most power banks are regular old USB or USB 3.0 power banks. There are some USB-C power banks that comply with USB PD protocols, and those are your safest bet next to these Anker chargers. Please note that not all USB-C chargers comply with the USB PD protocol. Also, the Switch doesn't exactly comply with USB PD protocol either, it just comes close. So you're still taking a little bit of a risk with those chargers. What confuses me about this Anker PowerCore is that it has a USB-A IQ port, just like many of their other cheaper power cores. So what's stopping someone from plugging their Switch into this IQ port? And if it's safe on this power bank, why isn't it safe on any of their other power banks? Anker themselves recommends that you only use the USB Type-C port for charging your Switch, their reason being that it provides faster charging. I think that there's a little bit more to it than that they're not saying. It's very hard to tell though. Anker also recommends that you have your Switch updated to the latest firmware before using one of these power banks. Now, this whole USB power delivery fiasco could be fixed with a firmware update, but power hasn't been referenced in any of the changelogs so far on the Switch, even though something definitely happened in the 5.0 update that caused a lot of aftermarket docks, specifically the Nyko one, to brick some switches. So I would think that Nintendo probably snuck in some power delivery fixes in firmware somewhere along the line. They probably snuck something in there right before these Anker PowerCores went to market. Either that, or they're just future-proofing themselves. But they could definitely update the firmware to fix this PD protocol situation. Truth be told, in the past, I've used those Anker power banks with IQ ports to charge my Switch and been just fine. It seems like most people who have had their power banks brick their Switch were using the power bank to charge their Switch through their dock. It's something that shouldn't work, but it does. I'd love to be able to call you an idiot if you did this, but I can't because it's not your fault. It's Nintendo's. It's actually not working. Oh. Looks like the RAV Power one provides this error. That's good. That's a good thing Nintendo did with that. Not only is the power bank itself important, but the cable that you use to charge your Switch is also very important. This Anker one comes with a USB-C to USB-C cable with a 56K ohm resistor built in. This way, when the Switch asks for the wrong amps, the cable will make sure it doesn't fry your Switch. The official Nintendo USB-A to USB-C cable that comes with Pro controllers also has this 56K ohm resistor in it. So this is probably safe too. I say probably because you'd still have to connect it to the IQ port, which is, who knows if that's a problem or not. These things are hard to test without some sort of special software because everything might be working fine for a long time. And then one day your Switch gets the wrong amps once, and there goes everything you worked so hard to achieve in Splatoon. Back in 2017, when our favorite Google Plus user Nathan K ran all of those tests on the power consumption of the Switch, he noted that his Switch overdrew power from his older Anker portable battery power bank. Hopefully there was a firmware update somewhere along the line. Hopefully this wasn't an IQ port. Who knows what's safe anymore? Luckily, Anker offers an 18-month warranty on their battery, and I'm sure that if anything were to happen with an officially licensed Nintendo product, that Nintendo would honor a replacement on the Switch if anything were to happen. There are plenty of other, bigger and cheaper alternatives out there that are probably mostly the same as this Anker PowerCore, some even with more I/O ports. But unfortunately for us, this is the safest one to use with your Nintendo Switch. It's a great power bank. The only unfortunate thing about it is its price, and I guess the uncertainty around it. I get that it's safe, but why? I don't exactly trust you, Nintendo. I'm acting like this is gonna blow up in your hands. It's not that serious. It's gonna be fine. It's not a Samsung product. So what do you guys think about these Anker PowerCores and portable battery power banks for your Switch? Do you have one? Do you use one regularly for other devices and you just toss your Switch in there every once in a while? I used to have this big Anker one. I think it was about the same size as this one. And then RAV Power sent me a bunch of really big ones that I would carry around in my bag. But sometimes it's nice to just have a tiny one. So I'm glad that I got a little tiny one like this, even though, oh, hello Switch. Even though the size difference, I mean, this is shorter, but it's fatter, you know? It's like, I guess this would go in your jacket pocket a little bit better. But again, it's nice to have something small because sometimes you don't need to charge your iPad 8 times. Sometimes you just need to charge your Switch once. Whenever I go to the airport, I'm like ready for the apocalypse. I got enough charge for everybody at the gate. But if I use my power bank, it's always once to charge one device, and that's it. Never my phone. My phone never dies when I go on a flight because I put it in airplane mode like a good citizen. Anyway, just leave it in the comments below. At me on Twitter. All this other social media garbage. We got Wulff Den apparel. Look at this outfit I got going on with the cardigan and everything. You can get yours at wulffdenapparel.com, and why don't you come back on the 19th of November, because we got another drop with some winter stuff, and oh my God, it's coming out real nice. Other ways to support us, there's that join button here on YouTube. There's also twitch.tv/WulffDen, where I stream games twice a week. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can support us for free there using Twitch Prime. And then you take your Twitch or YouTube accounts, why not both, link them to your Discord accounts. Join our supporter-only Discord. It's only for people who support us through those means. And you can get videos like this early so that you can be one of the first people to comment, and I don't know, that makes people feel good for some reason. As always, links to all the products we talk about are in the description below. Those links help support the channel. But of course, the most important thing that you could do is just subscribe. That's it. That helps a lot. And share this video with a friend who has a Switch, travels a lot. He's got to know this is the only thing that you can get, because if you get something else, then he's going to lose all of his Splatoon saves. His precious, precious split. Goodbye. Thank you very much. Have a good week.